Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 23rd episode of the Dropodcast. Today we've got two magnificent guests, and we have a lot of topics to talk about. For example, we're going to talk about the DevCam, very important topic, the mandate system, actual advertising, implants, the PSA Closed Beta test, and also we're going to quickly also discuss PSA versus Modern Warfare. And with me today are, like I mentioned, two glorious guests. We've got Alpha141 and Mr. ENZAK. Guys, can you quickly introduce yourself?
ENZAK, go first.
Alright, so yeah, I'm a Planet Man. I like the game, I enjoy it, and I stream it every now and then.
I played the game since 2012. I stream less than ENZAK, more of an old seasoned vet, and occasionally have done cinematics. So I do know a little bit more about the advertising side, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, guys, if you've ever seen the Planetside Twitter, video might have popped up over there from Mr. Alpha. But I also want to make clear that right now, I am, compared to the other guys over here in this room, I am really not a veteran player, and they are. So that will maybe be a interesting mix today, so we'll see. Let's dive into the first topic though, and it's all about the DevCam. And as you might have heard, on the PTS right now, there is a new DevCam enabled. Or well, not really a DevCam, but it basically does. It's a new dev screen. So when you die, the video cam will pan in into your attacker, your killer. So you will see where the guy shot you from, basically. And it will also be there for a few seconds as well. So there are some implementations for that, implications as well. But first of all, just a question for you guys. What do you think about the current system of the DevCam? Is it clear enough? Is it good enough? Do you even use it, or do you skip it?
I mean, currently the only thing you see is on the top right, I believe, is the direction where the bullet came from.
Yeah.
Which, well, in a 3D game, you only have a 2D sort of area to think about where it came from. So from a perspective of a new player, you're not going to be able to use it. Even if you wanted to, the amount of stuff that's going on in the game is just too overwhelming in order to actually, let's say, triangulate where exactly the bullets came from. Say there's a light assault, like we've seen with some streamers who just sit above the spawn room in the biolab and just farm for hours on end. We've seen the effects of it. It just doesn't work. So I don't know. I do use it, but most of the time for veteran players, you already know where you got shot from. So
yeah, I would agree on that. You already know, or the only time that I would use it is when I'm down and I'm getting revived. You just get a quick peek if there's like grenades or stuff on me, but other than that, I just skip everything.
Yeah, for me as a more newer player, the most important thing I saw was that if I got membership, I actually would get more XP. That's, I think, the most obvious thing on the DevCam. But also you could see what kind of better rank you got killed by. So that's pretty interesting as well. So if you're a new player, what you saw...
You mean like the reward XP and that stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
And it says like, you earned this and this amount of XP, but if you were a member, you would have earned this and this. But I still think that is over there. But less obvious now.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, but right now it zooms in and it pans in. Have you guys seen a video of, have you played with it on the PTS?
Yep, have seen it and have played with it.
You as well,
I just saw it 5 minutes ago, and I have to say it looks okay.
It does look more modern, doesn't it?
It looks like a good first implementation of it. I think it can use some more work, but it looks good.
It very much looks like the Battlefield equivalent that you have, or at least what I remember from 3.
I don't know if you have played H1Z1, but it's, I think, identical.
Oh yeah, true.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like exactly the same.
It's the only issue I have with it, and that's like besides the whole underlying conversation that's been going on Reddit for the past couple of days, it's like it's perfect for new players, and like 100% on board with it. It's just it feels a little bit off in the sense that suppressors are already pretty useless in the game as we speak. Like, you will see very few veteran players ever equip or use a suppressor. The fact that it still shows you where the player shot you from, or just outlines the player that killed you with a suppressor, feels kind of even more detrimental to it. That will just push new players away from it. Because I remember when I started the game, I bought the MKV suppressed because I thought it actually mattered. Because I came from other games where the suppressor very much matters, and it's just like, why wouldn't you do those guys a favor?
I'm not gonna lie, I did the exact same thing. MKV suppressed. Well, yeah, I think definitely there should be some limits as to what weapons and what ranges it should work from. But I like the way it looks, like the outline, the fact that it tracks it a little bit, and it's not just the general direction. Like, I see good use for it.
I see also some nice teabagging potential because you can also sit on the body afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
And then maybe if they ever add the what's it called, the cross-faction voice chat, maybe that's gonna be interesting.
What I was
Who
thinking
knows?
about, and somebody posted as well on Reddit, I saw, if they ever add emotes like in Fortnite, and you can like dance on the body and stuff.
Oh, please
Oh my
no.
God.
That would be. I think that would be
yeah.
glorious. After a kill, you do a little dance, especially for
Then
Planetside
I'm gonna
Arena.
be dancing 24/7. No
Yes.
offense.
Like
There's
on,
gonna be
on those
no-
dead moments when you got like the last kill in the base, I think that would be pretty funny. That's
Yeah.
my new player point of view.
What I wonder though is like, what is the impact gonna be on performance of servers and of clients with this whole deathcam stuff?
Oh, that's a good question. We've seen it right now on a small scale on PTS, but not on a big scale now.
The
Yeah,
only
exactly,
thing
because
it should influence would be client, right? It doesn't really, it shouldn't impact the server side. And client side wise, well, do you care how many frames you get when you're in the death screen if it's above 60 FPS? I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't.
I want to see the guy dancing in the future, but yeah.
I mean, it will start. I don't know exactly. I don't think we've tested it with more than 2 people. But what I do know is just like it gives you an outline and it just keeps rendering it. And for anyone that doesn't really know, in terms of the range that ENZAK mentioned, if the person that killed you is in render range, it will show them. If say you get killed by a proxy mine and the person is like 500 meters away, no longer in your render range, it will no longer display them.
Oh, okay. And like, I forgot the question, but it was.
Sorry.
Yeah, just go on. Just go on.
That's all I had to say, really.
Have you maybe found
what
on the
would-
PTS a function to disable it? Or is it just hard enabled?
Not that I've found.
Okay.
And what would happen if like 2 people kill each other at the same time? Like, are they just gonna look at something, the moon, or what's gonna happen? I wonder. Like, there's a lot of situations, and like, a game is never the same for everyone, and like, bugs are gonna happen, and I wonder what we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, especially with a client-side game like this, like Planetside.
Yeah. But yeah, I got a lot of people also that asked, like, if it would make more sense to make a replay of yourself, like of what actually happened, so you can actually learn from it, or do you just want to see the guy running away or stuff like that? There's a lot of like possibilities that they can do, and I wonder like which direction they're gonna head. Like, I don't know about you guys.
That's a good first step, and I would like. So you would like to see yourself?
I would like. I don't know if you have ever played Call of Duty, like a round-ending kill or something like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that could be possible, but I hope they don't do it because it's gonna like be too much, I guess. Because that's no longer gonna be client-sided, I think.
Well, Faber, think of it as the death cam in PUBG, for example. When PUBG first came out, I had a discussion with the community manager about a feature like that, and according to their programmer, it was a pain in the butt to implement. In Planetside, with the given resources, as a newbie programmer, I think that's oof.
That's
Like
just
that's
off
that's
the,
that's a
off the
lot.
charts. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because,
also
like,
yeah.
sorry.
Go on.
You'd have to determine what are you going to give the player. Are you going to give them their own perspective? Are you going to give them the perspective of the server, which I'm not even entirely sure if it's possible? Or are you going to give them some mishmash between the enemy's position and your position? Because, like, you two have completely different views and positions.
Yeah, and if we're gonna be honest about it, like the only games we see this in are like the small 6v6 match rounds, like small games. So I don't think it's even possible in this large scale fights and stuff like that. So I totally accept it if they say like, no, we're never gonna do that. We can go this direction, but we'll see.
I
That's
feel like this is
interesting.
good enough. Like it will give new players, especially people that come from shooters like, I don't know, Call of Duty or Battlefield, it will make it a little bit more familiar, and it 100% will help players who, like, I have no clue where I just got shot from. Like, to just see, okay, that person's over there. Cool. All right. It will make it a lot more understanding, I hope. It could also go the complete opposite direction potentially with some players. They're going to be like, "What? How did that guy kill me? He's like behind a wall."
Yeah, I think that's gonna be what we're gonna see a lot.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
through walls and stuff.
The main
But yeah.
complaints I've heard though about the system is that there's a big negative effect for the long range players, for example, snipers or long range players, because they will find they have their own sniping spots or spots where they can fire up on certain rooms, for example, with hash. And they will have really a negative effect because people will know where they're shooting from and their spots will be gone. I personally think that infiltrators have enough tools to already be hidden in the game, but do you guys think that for those players it's a bad thing?
Honestly, like if you're complaining about that stuff, go close range. Go snipe close range.
Yeah.
Like the infiltrator is already super invisible. They have spotters tools and everything. So even if they're like there's a guy that's gonna go for the whole revenge tour, like he's gonna know he's on the way. He's always like already in the advantage. And like I know I don't know if you know this, but like every time when you are in the mindset of going for a revenge of someone, the other guy already knows you're coming, so he's already in the advantage. There's no like big complaint.
I mean,
Very hard.
I see the take you have on it feels very much on a more advanced player basis. It sounds like, because if I look back to like all the players from the circuit that I play with occasionally, they don't have the same reflexes, the same aim as, you know, more veteran players. For the most part, I feel like if people get killed, and one of the best examples I can give was Nakahara farming in a biolab for an entire hour and getting what 200 to 300 kills because he was
Wow.
stuck in a spot that no one looked at. That sort of playstyle might get compromised, and people will start looking up because now they know where people are. As far as light assaults go, which was also a huge discussion between Redditor and Toby MK, is, yeah, the more skill you have, the more you're going to be on the move, right? People that just sit in a spot will get clapped, so it's going to be going against campers specifically. But snipers, especially if you're talking, say, between Ceres Hydroponics on Indoor and the Tower of Crown and TI Allies, they're far enough away. Depending on the fight, it's always going to be dependent on like the entire situation of the fight. Yeah, someone with, you know, lesser skill than, for example, me or ENZAK might try to go after them. But if I get killed by someone multiple times and I figure out where they are, I'm gonna go after them without the death cam at the moment already.
Yeah.
But now it will just encourage players that might have not known where they are to potentially go after them, and then it becomes a, you know, either people move or they get more free kills because the opponent that's chasing after them doesn't have the skill to kill.
Well, the thing is, I guess that new players that right now are camping in a long spot will learn thanks to the system also to move more. And I think that will help them improve in the game as well later on. So I see it as a good thing, but I yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm also
for more
quickly
passive
gonna.
players, I get it.
I would say as a streamer, just talking about it because we're all here and watching Twitch and guys.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice addition as well because I know for myself at least I tend to be on the ragey kind of side when sometimes I get
yeah.
like I get killed from somewhere and I don't even realize or where it's from, so I get mad. And then if I could actually see it, I could actually maybe get a little bit less angry. I don't know. I would just say it like that. I think it's a good thing as well. Just yeah, maybe Rel should make another anger management video.
Also, I like the cinematics in Planetside, so from that perspective, I also I like this at
Yeah,
least.
No,
insane.
it's in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna. I think it will help new players extremely. So from that perspective, perfect. The one thing, and this just goes for a very very small percentage of players that might like to play a little bit more immersively, and I wouldn't call role play, but the fact that if you're cloaked or if you're using a suppressor, in my opinion, it shouldn't show you because otherwise a suppressor is already so useless. Why make it even more useless, especially for new players?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think we'd think quite alike about Deathcam, so that's pretty funny actually. I didn't expect that. In the community is a big divide. I've done a poll as well on my YouTube. You can find the link over here. I hope. No? There we go. But over there it is 40% saying it's good, 35% saying it's bad, and 25% has no opinion about it. So pretty much divide, I guess. But okay, let's go on to the next topic, the mandate system. And first of all, have you guys heard about the mandate system?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because basically it's going to be a quest in Planetside 2. And also the nice thing is I've heard that certain scripts will be triggered as well to run new quests, and also will be able to have outfit-wide quests or even faction-wide quests. So, for example, when you're playing a certain thing with your whole outfit, you will get rewarded as well as the whole outfit, which I think is something really funny.
I gotta say, I definitely like that stuff because, like, there's a lot of streamers that I already see around that finish literally all of their directives. They have no reason or no really a goal to go after every day they play. So I think stuff like that could be nice, but I hope they do it good, like the whole daily quests and stuff like that with the whole outfit. I
Is
can only see good stuff from that.
by the way a daily quest for you motivated to log on every day, or
If the reward is equally good, I think, yeah.
that's actually a big question. What kind of rewards will they be handing out?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, before we move on the PTS there also was a different change. Apparently, from battle rank 15 on, you will get 100 certs every time you level up.
Oh.
Which is great for new players, but
Exactly.
I believe as much like a lot of other vets that it's not going to be applied retrospectively.
No.
It's gonna be useful for the Smurfs we make, I guess.
Definitely, it's just
yeah. I mean, yeah, okay. It should have been there since the start, in my opinion.
yeah.
I actually think the current grinding isn't that bad. But yeah, again, for new players, I think it's kind of fair as well.
Says the member with quad XP here. it's fine, dude. It's fine.
Yeah,
It
okay,
is
true.
not as bad if you look at it like from just the weapons point of view, but it gets really bad when you try to get specific implants. Say you're a medic in which you're sort of forced to play with four specific implants: the shield bubble implant, the combat medic, carapace if you're lucky, and potentially assimilate if you can't get carapace. Right, that would be your perfect loadout. Getting those and upgrading them, which costs like 2,500 at the last level, is a serious grind. And the only way to do that is either buy more implant packs with Daybreak cash, which apparently is a very big income for them, or you have to pay 750 certs. So that's quite a lot. And I would certainly say that's a huge grind.
That is a huge grind. But it's also, I think, for the long term, it's a long term thing, isn't it? you to have something to do. Because I know enough players that have nothing to do anymore. They insert it into construction, they insert it into their outfit, in their outfits, in their
Vehicles, everything.
vehicles,
yeah.
and all their weapons and stuff. And now they're done. The only thing they can grind is, I want this one exceptional implant. But yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. It's just I look at myself. I have like a bunch of characters all over the place,
Okay.
and I haven't touched the Cobalt and CNVS in a while. Now they don't get anything retrospectively. They're BR 20 to 40, I believe, and one of them has a good implant, so I don't want to re-roll that. So I have to grind everything from scratch, and that's the one thing. Like most of the time, when you hear the argument, it's just like, oh, then if it's like not a high BR, then just re-roll it. Well, mine has experimental stims, for example. Why would I re-roll that?
Yeah. Good point. There was one thing though I found pretty interesting about the mandate death letter thing. I will quickly read it out. The mandate system will help make rewards feel more punchy and immediately obvious. It gives players a clear goal to complete, and it allows us to be more generous with rewards while maintaining a tighter control over our currency economies. Like much of what we're working toward now, this is a system that will support the long-term development of the game. And I don't know if I'm probably reading this incorrect, but long-term development is, I think, always something with money, and therefore I propose it was something with a battle pass. Do you guys also think something similar, or do you read this long-term development a bit different?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Because all these updates right now, they are all like free additions to the game. Sanctuary will be a free edition, the tutorials will be new editions, also free. And I think Data games need to make some money somehow, right? I mean, they're doing a lot of development time, but they're not making a lot of money out of it. So I was thinking, Battle Pass with mandate system.
And that would piss off people.
Yeah, what would that mean? What would that exactly mean?
What would it mean?
That would mean you'd have to buy it.
Well, maybe then, for example, you have a weekly goal. You need to, I don't know, kill 20 ESFs, and you can only unlock that goal if you get a battle pass. And of course, there was also will be a special reward for that.
So you're gonna put more rewards just behind pay barriers, right? That's basically what you wanna do.
That is how I read it, basically. But
yeah, I get it, but I don't think it's a good idea. Just to do straight up pay barrier here. This is what you get. Then they can just make, hey, this is Planetside DLC. Let's go. No, I think I don't know what to think about a battle pass coming to Planetside. We already have membership. Isn't that the same thing then, or is it just gonna be another thing?
Well, we also got membership and we also got implant systems, so they always will be looking for, I think, more ways to make money out of this game.
Well, I just reread it, and we kind of missed one point. In that line, they were saying this: while maintaining tighter control over our currency economy.
Yeah.
Economies?
Economies.
This is where the Sanctuary comes in. And we do not really have that much information about that, do we? Other than the entire system that we were just talked about, as well as the Sanctuary itself, feels like they're pushing the way towards a more MMORPG-like style, which is interesting and, in my opinion, kind of out of place.
I also have the same feeling that lately they've been pushing more. I don't know if you know Warframe, but it has like a similar feeling with the whole Sanctuary stuff.
Yeah.
That you have a hub of people. They're probably gonna add skins, trading, and all that stuff later down the line. And I think that should be the source of income. The skins, the content, the stuff like that. Look at Fortnite. They're still making skins and they're still selling it to all the 6-year-olds and everyone. What I mean is, like, they shouldn't lock a reward system, a daily objective system behind bars, because then you get a big part of your game that's just gonna be like, hey, if I want to play this game and I want to have something to do, I have to pay just for the game to tell me, hey, go kill 20 ESFs. So I think it's better if they say like, hey, go kill 20 ESFs. You can get this free skin for doing that, and you can buy these skins if you buy them with station cash, and just
But-
put the skins behind barriers or stuff like that.
But that is how they do it right now in, for example, PUBG or Fortnite even. They have a basic amount of free directives to do, free missions. And then if you want to get the real cool skins, if you want to get the real cool stuff, then you need to pay for the battle pass.
And that's the same with Apex, every other game. It's the only games that are free to play and actually succeed in what they're doing. They have to sell, I almost want to say merchandise, but they have to sell stuff that people want to show that, hey, I did this, I accomplished this, so I can get this and I can show it to everybody, all my friends. I think that's the better version of putting stuff behind paywalls.
But even if that is the case, and that's what bugs me with the development letter, is it's very few pieces of information that we're getting.
Oh yeah.
If that is the case, and going off of what you said before, that this is the mandate system is one of their ways to keep development going in terms of money, the only logical way that comes to mind for me, at least right now, is say this is a battle pass. How would this work between paying and non-paying? I feel like that wouldn't be possible. So that's what bugs me. It's just like we don't know that much about it.
No,
It sounds interesting, certainly, but I'd like to know more.
it is very vague, and I do guess that everyone will be able to get at least a daily mission, or at least an outfit goal, or at least the one, what is it, faction directive, something like that.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned the sanctuary, and they are mentioning also in the letter. I need to find this. They're also working on law. They have been working on law, and they want to implement that into the game. That might be also one of these Warframe elements that will be part of the sanctuaries.
Right. So if you think back a couple of weeks or months, we had this impromptu, I think it was last month, the impromptu dev stream, where they showed one of the lead artists designing Sanctuary. Came out of nowhere. Sure, we've known about it for years now, but I don't know, it just, to me, as a long-term player of Planetside, I've never really associated Planetside with an RPG. And now this is a serious push towards it. A new currency is what they dropped. More social space. I mean, great, but it just feels, different.
I want to come back to this when we talk about the advertising topic, because that could be a big part of it as well.
Okay.
Well, the actual advertising is the next topic, so why not directly dive into it? A quick reminder for all the guys that don't know what's happening right now. If you have been on the internet lately and you have been Googling towards MMO FPS or free shooter or anything alike, Google might send you this one ad of Planetside, and it's saying like a big technical update or something like that. You might get a YouTube ad, you might get a Google AdSense ad. Basically, Daybreak Games is actually putting in some money to advertise the game. So,
do you actually think all of these Twitch viewers don't have their little ad blocker installed? Come on, dude.
Well, I mean, it's also
I don't.
You don't? I do. Everybody does. No, yeah, I think it's a good idea to do advertising, but maybe it's the wrong time now. They missed their time frame.
Is it?
Like,
because they just had a big update for PS4.
Yeah, but they should have done it when everybody did the whole DX11 push. Like, did you see how many people joined? They're all gone now, but how many people were there? If then you push the whole train that's coming to you with a little bit of advertising, it's like a snowball. It keeps going. But to go back on what we were saying earlier, I think the whole the one thing that I feel Planetside is lacking is inter-faction, like between factions communications, as in a more of a friendly competitive side, like the way they want to do the, what's it called, the voice chat amongst enemies. I think stuff like that would automatically, without even needing to advertise, like how many people watch on YouTube funny moments of PUBG, funny moments of Fortnite, funny moments of whatever. So I think like the voice system that they would do would add and allow for a lot of funny moments, but yeah, that's what I think.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I kind of disagree because like if you think back to DX11, who actually came? It was mostly people that already played Planetside. A lot of vets came back. At the time I was on Emerald, and like we saw a surge in old outfit newcomers or old people just coming back to play. There wasn't really that much advertising aside the one video they put out about the NSO stuff, which was then put on a what was it? What was the site that they put the
Like a
trailer on?
GameSpot
Yeah,
thing, I don't know. Yeah.
that
Mhm.
was that was sort of the only thing. So the one thing I know is that they wanted to keep advertising once they actually had everything fixed. But it felt like they sort of moved on from the DX11 stuff 1 or 2 months ago already. So I was very much confused as to why there is no advertisement push. I don't know. Like if it's coming now, sure. It feels weak, but then again, none of us actually know how many adverts are out there, how much it costs, etc.
No.
If it brings in people, sure, but at the same time, are they gonna stay? That's like
Is
the
it worth it?
big
Yeah.
problem. Because like they stated themselves, we're getting enough players, but they're not staying. And I feel like ever since they said that, has very much changed in the terms of the new player experience, aside from
No.
mentor squads, which are very subjective depending on which player leads.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We got the chat, but the chat isn't being used. I have access to the chat, but nobody's talking in it. It's
Oh, boy.
really silent. One thing though, you think the timing is strange? You guys both think that?
Yeah.
There is this one thing, and it isn't for Planetside 2, but Planetside Arena should be launching within 4 weeks, I guess, if they still have their schedule right. You know, the summer is going to end in 4 weeks. That's my idea, at least the northern hemisphere. If they make commercials right now for Planetside 2, that might also have some ripple effects into Planetside Arena. That might be one of the reasoning. Also because Gamescoming is coming up tomorrow. But we'll see.
It's just I think I've heard a lot of talk about like, oh, if PSA comes out. I think I've heard you speak specifically about that, Faber. It's just like, no, wait, that was Cyrus. That said that like PSA comes out, you move on from PS2 to PSA. That's going to be the next thing in the series. If that's the case, why is there still such a push from from PS2? Like PSA is not going to replace PS2, not in scale.
No, it isn't.
Nothing.
Both will coexist. That's I think the ideal world.
Yeah, that's certainly what the devs would want. But has the timing something to do with it? I don't know. None of us will actually know. It's just
We don't know, or we can't talk about it. One of the two.
I don't want to be negative. Right now, what does Planetside have to keep new players in the game? There's no
very
goal.
unique game. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's the one of its kind. That's the only thing that's kind of keeping people in it. If we're honest, like it's the only game that shows you how many players you can kill and how many people there are in the game and everything like that. But I think the thing they did now is they increase performance. Yes, no, yes. And the thing they should do now is content. Like the only thing that keeps the games like Fortnite, PUBG, and stuff like that going is new content, new stuff to do, new challenges, new ideas. So I think that's the next push they have to do. And as soon as they push out a series of ideas, like if they would but it's never going to happen. But if they would manage to get the Sanctuary and the offshore continent out at the same time, advertising, boom, and release Planetside Arena at the same time, all of that, that would get like super amazing momentum off of that. But yeah, who knows when that's going to happen.
I think
So I
Usher
think
is still a long way from here. But also a
it's
question
all
coming in: will they ever
long-term.
add new maps? And the
That's-
question is yes. The answer is yes, but
we don't know when.
no. And my guess is somewhere in 2020, but like my guess is somewhere 2020 in the summer, next year's summer.
You think?
Yeah, do you
If
think
Planetside
earlier?
is still alive.
No, I. Okay, so this is where I go full negative mode. I, as someone who's played so long and who has seen the creation of Hasen, it's the same trend again, and I want to be very, very wrong. But just think about the Hasen bases that they said they would replace like 3 years ago. I think OSHA will happen, certainly. But didn't they say last year that it will happen at the end of this year? Most. It's just like, I don't know. Like they said that they will focus especially on the new player experience, which, from an outside perspective, should be a main priority, right? If they have all these methods to bring new people in, then the only thing to work on should be to keep these players in. Now, this is very easy to say as someone who's on the outside that doesn't know the working inside, excluding obviously the money aspect. But what really did we get in terms of the new player experience aside the mentor system, which, well, many people have very differing opinions about that, and the tutorials that are coming up. We didn't actually talk about those, did we?
No, but nothing has changed about the tutorials, has there? I mean, they're
Well,
coming.
It has been announced.
Yeah, it has been announced a while back already, so I don't think it's really relevant right now. It's coming though, and they want to add it together with the sanctuaries at the same time. That's what we know.
Alright.
But yeah, that was the actual advertising. Actually, let's do some more questions. If you have any questions, you can do !question followed by a question. We got one from Christopher Games. The question is, will they nerf infiltrators? Like I've died so many times where they will start shooting I've died so many times where they start shooting, like they decloak and they spray the life out of me. But when I try, I can't shoot until I am fully decloaked. But they can do it like it shoots while cloaked almost.
Good
Sorry,
for
I had
you.
a hard time reading this.
Good for you. You have two vets here that can exactly explain to you why that is.
Tell me.
The problem you explained is not really fixable in this game because what you specifically described, Christoph, is client side, right?
It's how you experience it. It's not
Precisely.
what actually happened.
Yeah, it is what you experience is not what he sees. The moment you're already taking damage on his screen, he's already decloaked. Because of ping difference. So if we say you have 40 milliseconds, the other person has say 60. There's always the time that it takes from your screen to get to the server, and then from the server to. So you're coming up to, I don't know, a few 100 milliseconds. Add to that the server delay of the server itself, and so on and so forth. Potentially packets being lost on the process during the process. He has a peaker's advantage of say half a second, a little less, and that's the time. That's the time where you will get damaged. That's the time where you do not see that person. That is why you also get sometimes insta-gip behind corners, or when someone peeks you, you see him moving out behind the corner, and you're already dead. Simply because on his screen, he already shot you 5 times in the head.
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at time to kills, like they're all around like the half a second to 0.8 seconds. So it can happen that you don't even get to react because in that half a second it's just going to the server and to your screen and you're already dead. So it happens, and it's just how this game works. Just watch some videos how to client side. That's it.
In terms of infiltrators, keep moving. Like, be unpredictable in your movement. So like strafe around left and right, that makes it more difficult for someone to shoot. If it's not for infiltrators, like for example heavies, try to avoid corners in a way of like you just run straight down a wall on a double stack, for example. Someone can just peek you. Like, just don't be predictable in your movement. That way you can not negate the peeker's advantage, but you can at least throw off their aim enough for you to actually see them and to have a fighting chance. That's the only piece of advice I can really give you.
Yeah, the other advice is just do not be on the receiving end. If you want to win, just peek him instead of him peeking you.
Just
be more aggressive. Just aim better. Or if you're imp hunter here, he likes to say it, just press F to win if you're a heavy. If that's answering your heavy shitter question at the same time. There we go.
Okay. We've got another question from Christopher. The question is, will they increase or lower the prices for certs? Because when you beat the tutorial in the basics, you get like 1k certs. And that pretty much is nothing. Sure, you buy a new gun, but then you won't have equipment stuff. But if you go equipment, you're still stuck with those basic guns. And that's so boring. Well, I think we first need to address that the basic guns are really good. Right? Or no?
Yeah. You shouldn't buy the new gun.
But then the question is, it's boring. Yeah, I get that you want to try different guns because it's more.
And that's the thing. That's what keeps the players from staying in this game. You just don't have access to a lot of stuff at the start. Like when I play sometimes on a Smurf, right? And it's a new character. I have no new guns. I have no new stuff. I can barely kill a max with my rocket. I have no medkits. There's a lot of stuff, basic stuff that a player needs and they just don't get. So Daybreak, if you ever hear this, please make more stuff accessible to newer players, like medkits. Give them one at least from the start. Give them a good rocket, not the starting one, because like the maxes, how many do they take? 5, 6? Something like that. So there's a lot of starting equipment that you need, and you're gonna spend those first 1,000 certs on it. But the new players don't know that, and they just spend it on, oh hey, here's a new gun for exactly 1,000 certs. Let's buy that. And then they're broke, and they're gonna leave the game in a couple of weeks because they don't get the certs.
Well,
So I think that's also the underlying problem with player retention, like players that leave because they don't understand the game a lot.
Yeah. You want to add something to that, Mr. Alpha?
Yeah. In regards to the certs, right? We already covered this. You're now going to get 100 per battle rank, which is pretty good because you should be able to get quite significant in a short amount of time. You should get to 30, even 50. Now, what ENZAK said is true, but there's one problem, and that's what I've been told by the devs, is they cannot change, say, for example, like Imp wanted the starting weapon for the NC to a GD22, which is perfect because it would be somewhat in line with the other weapons. The problem with that is other people have bought that weapon with Daybreak Cash, thus they cannot. That's what I've been told, and this is an underlying issue for medkits probably as well. Literally anything that you can buy is subject to this problem. That's why we haven't seen this change, and it's disheartening. Technically speaking, there should be a way to do it, but apparently either it isn't because spaghetti code, or they just don't want, or they can't. I don't know. But as far as what they told me is not gonna happen.
There's never a can't, to be honest. Like, they should do it, and they know it, and if they realize it's because of that they're losing players, it might change their mind. Maybe it's worth not making Osher and actually doing stuff like that. That's keeping the players in the game. That's what I think. Like, it's my opinion. It's not.
Christopher answered the question. They can do trial time for like 100 certs, where they have limited time to try the gun or equipment. Well, there is like for every gun, there's like free trial anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can play with the gun, like with every gun for like half an hour. And I personally think that should be way bigger on the screen. Trial time. Maybe if you click the gun, like to buy it or to check it out, like they should ask you with a little pop up, do you want to try it out for free for like half an hour?
Mm-hmm.
That will also maybe for new players, because then you can try out a lot of different guns. You can play with a lot of different guns, try different play styles, and then you know what to invest those certs in. But you don't get any attachment. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, the trial should also be changed. The 24-hour countdown. I think it should be like a 7-day, but then only for the one weapon you trialed. So you can trial different guns in the same day and compare them. Because now I have to wait 24 hours for the next gun I'm trying, and then like I have a whole week to check the heaviest weapons, and then I'm gonna have to decide which one I buy. Like, come on, Daybreak, you know better than this. It's easy to realize stuff like that it's just wrong, and it's keeping the players from. You have a ton of content, but it's not accessible for new players.
Yeah.
Specifically vehicles and specifically construction.
Like, if you were to trial every weapon, I think you're in for a ride of like more than a month.
Definitely. But also there is a reason why there are so many weapon reviews on YouTube. I mean, people are really struggling to think about which gun to get. Well, there is a trial button.
Yeah, they are good and they certainly hold value, but say even if you take like the casual players that will not really care, that will take, oh, this gun does the most damage, let's take this. For people that play this for the shooting part, right? People like us, not every weapon will be the same. Even for people that are not going to go for the meta weapons like the MSWR or Orion, people want to try how guns feel. Not everyone is comfortable with the same gun. Some people will completely destroy you with a, I don't know, Pulsar LSW, and you're just sitting here with your MSWR. It's like, I should win this. It's just, people are different. But like ENZAK said, if you're restricted, then especially for new players, it's difficult.
Yeah, I think that could be a big factor in the reason why players leave this game, is because there's limited content when you start, and it's building up by time, but it's very limited.
I don't think so. I've especially over the past couple of days, I've watched a few completely new players stream the game. It was very heartwarming, but also it showcased like the problems. Like, people didn't know that they had free attachments, which was the first problem, and it really annoyed them.
Yeah.
The second problem is they don't know what they're doing. It's just like, oh, okay, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to kill enough players here to win? Where are the points here? Like, you know, the hard points in Battlefield, for example, or Flag. Very few of them actually came to the realization in the beginning that the capture points A, B, C, D are what they need to capture. Because sure, they're called capture points, but where do you actually see that? You just see an A, and that's, to us, sure, that's normal indication now. But if you just join this, you have little to no experience with shooters or even Battlefield, you lost. You completely lost.
Yeah.
But people didn't know about the objectives? That's strange to believe.
No, what Im just said is also so true.
Because people are going to go into every building, they're going to look around. They don't know that there's a redeploy button, etc. Like, I watched one of the new players walk around for 30 minutes.
Wow. How many times have you seen a max suit just departure from the fucking war gate?
Oh,
just
no.
going straight to the battle. It happens.
Yes, and they will repull from the same place again.
Yeah.
If they die.
It happens. And people like that don't stay, and I don't get mad at them. Like, I know why they don't stay. And that's the thing, like the new player experience. I think the whole time they made the mentor squads, they should have made tutorials and more stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. It is hard to stay in this game, but definitely worth it. We have one final question from Christopher, I see. We'll continue with different topics as well, so stay here. You can submit more questions, exclamation mark question. But the question was, how will Planetside 2 survive without their European streamers nor YouTubers? Because of Article 13 and 9, which we won't be able to stream the game and advertise it, considering how really it's low populated compared to back in the days. I have no clue what's happening with Article 13 nor 9. I think it has been accepted. But
this is a nice segue into our sponsor for today's Dropodcast, NordVPN. But no, I think it's just a European problem. And what can we do about it?
Faber, buddy, I love you. I mean no disrespect. I think it will have a little to no impact at all in terms of pulling more people in. As someone who had beliefs in terms of, hey, cinematics might be used as trailers and shit, we're insignificant. Faber certainly has pulled his weight in terms of bringing new people in. The same thing for not to be understated. But the thing is, the one thing where it will hurt the most, and we talked about this before, are stuff like weapon reviews, tutorials. That will hurt because new players will be like, well, now what? What am I supposed to do here? That's what's going to hurt the most. But at the end of the day, this is just speculation.
But I don't know what the effect of the practical effect will be for Article 13. Well, I even forgot what it was actually.
Basically, it's an upload filter, and it's a whole topic of hours on end discussion in its own. We don't even know the effects of it. That's the problem.
That's the thing.
Like when you're on YouTube and you're like, "Hey, this video is not available in your country." That's basically what's gonna happen to everything.
Yeah, and it's not universal over all of Europe. Every country can implement it to its own desires.
Yeah.
So really, okay.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time looking into it because this affects me a lot in the future.
I see. Yeah, in theory, it will also affect me because I make YouTube and stream. So, but yeah, I think it is all. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it really. Let's get back to the real topic. For now, we will skip implants because of time reasons, but we will go on to something else. The Planetside Arena closed playtest, and I think it has some interesting thoughts and ideas over there. There was somebody called BM. I lost his name, Pickles, I think, BJ Pickles, and he said he participated with a closed playtest together with different developers and PSA. And one of the things he said, well, they were trying out a third-person mode in Planetside Arena, and I want to know from you guys, what do you think about third person, basically?
It's gonna be a waste of development resources. Just gonna say it the way it is. Do you play PUBG third person? Is there?
I have played it. I played actually a lot. In the beginning, you only had the choice of playing third person, so that was easy. But I still play with a few friends, more casual PUBG. But my competitive PUBG, I play first person.
Yeah.
You can see a lot of
your answer.
Yeah, you can see a lot on YouTube. A lot of the casual ones play third person.
But then the question is, what kind of game is PSA going to be? Is it going to be a casual game, or is it going to be a competitive game?
I think more of a casual thing, because I think as Planetside Arena more as the, hey, I can log in, play this game for 30 minutes, do something else, and still get the whole enjoyment thing of it. I think you can't really do that with Planetside, because if you log in, you're usually stuck for the whole alert or whatever is going on. So I think the Planetside could be either competitive if you want it. If you don't want it, you can do whatever you want, I guess.
I don't think one will eradicate the other. It will.
Yeah, it could just coexist.
It might push for a competitive scene, but then again, what the hell does that? I mean, we still don't know what their drive is, right? We've seen little shorts and snippets that they're implementing more mainstream modes like capture the flag and stuff. We knew that this would come from the original trailer, but then again, this game has gone through such change. We're not. I'm not even sure what to believe at that point. Maybe they're gonna go for a competitive scene. They've tried with Planetside. If they go for more team-based in terms of small-scale stuff, it could work. But if they implement a third-person thing, the only actual game that's somewhat competitive in that regard, to me, that I know, is Gears of War, and that somewhat works. I mean, PUBG, you only play first-person.
It's
in all
not
the
entirely
tournaments.
true. In Asia, third person is the main game mode.
Oh, fair enough.
And
That's
in
why I asked.
Asia, there is a lot of esport actually. So, but
The
I
more you
think,
know.
I personally think that the majority of players are from. Actually, I don't know how many players are there in Asia playing Planetside.
Well,
I
all we
mean, they
know
have
right
their
now
own
is
server, and
Yeah,
it
but-
was more populated than the even Emerald, I believe.
Let me
Really?
actually check. Let's
Yeah,
say
I believe
Soltec Soltec had today a peak of 1,028 players.
Yeah, when Soltec came out, they had more than Emerald.
yeah
And
because of the
Emerald.
merging probably, because everybody was just testing it and
Yeah,
then
it's like all the
Yeah.
Europeans.
yeah, sneaky bastard.
Oh god.
No, the only thing we know right now is that the Emerald server is gonna shut down, and the Connery server is gonna shut down, and Trump is gonna ban games, and all that stuff is gonna be really fun. Who even talks about Article 13 right now? Come on, step up your game, chat. Come on.
I don't think it really mattered.
Yeah,
I didn't expect this. I honestly didn't expect them implementing a third person mode. But to me, honestly, the one thing that matters is getting more information about the game. And yeah, I read through what the person posted on Reddit. I mean, I hear things from the devs as well when I see them play the game, but it's
NDA.
no, nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Okay.
I just don't hear that much. It's just, oh, I see them having a playtest. Okay, that's about it. I
Mhm.
potentially could join. I mean, that person joined, so
I
yeah.
have heard from multiple sources, and I can't say their names, but I've heard from multiple sources that yes, there was a PSA playtest. So the guy that posted it is
Now I'm salty because I was in the Discord and I left it because there
It's
was
not-
just nothing
It's not,
happened.
it's not given in there.
it's not the Shrimp
Oh,
Discord,
it's
is
not
it?
in there.
No, it was an internal one. I'm 100% sure that it was an internal
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
one.
It's just with the employees of Daybreak, I guess.
In the office,
mainly.
yeah.
But though I think it's also nice bridge to the next topic. PSA versus Modern Warfare. This was requested by ENZAK. So
Yeah.
I guess you've been watching Modern Warfare being revealed. What do you think about it?
I I like the whole mindset, like the player base of the game and the franchise has really been like, we want a modern day shooter, no crazy flying, no abilities, no crazy stuff. Just back to the roots of actual Call of Duty, and I think that they just nailed it. Like the way they did it is really nice. There's still a little bit of questioning about a battle royale mode and all that stuff, but so far so good. I like what they're saying about the game. And
Yeah,
I kinda am afraid for Planetside Arena if the time is gonna be the same. It could be Apex Legends all over again. Who knows?
But when does Call of Duty launch? Like in October?
The open beta is gonna be in September.
Oh,
So
really?
all the pre-orders is gonna be in September, and then the
Ooh.
full release is in October.
Okay.
Oh,
So, yeah.
November. Huh. I do want to
Or
ask
November, yeah.
though, is
I
the
think
reason
October.
why you put PSA versus Call of Duty up there because both of them are shooters, or is it because Modern Warfare will have a 100 game mode of 50v50? Or was it 30v30? Fuck.
No,
I
no,
don't know.
50v50, I've heard.
50v50, yeah.
Is that the reason, or is it because it's a shooter?
Mostly because of that as well. The increased player sizes, like until now it was 64 players, I think, right? On Battlefield, the biggest. So now I think 100 players is already coming pretty close to the massive clash things. So there's not a lot of like, if they have bad luck and Modern Warfare releases the same time, you know what the articles in the newspapers are gonna say. New game, biggest player smashes whatever, and then a week later, Planetside Arena, massive clash. Here you go. Oh wait, everybody already spent $60 buying the other game. So yeah, I hope they have luck and they release it before them and they release it good. But
It
it could be
depends a bit. If it's a free-to-play game, I think it matters less if they will release Call of Duty early or later. But
is it gonna release free to play?
We don't know. When
I doubt it.
No
I
clue.
really doubt
It's
it.
been refunded, so
yeah, because
that was the initial thought of a lot of
legal requirements, right?
I don't know. I really
don't know either about that one.
I think it is because you can't just take money and then just don't release a game.
I think personally, when I hear about Planetside, 100 player battle, that's cute, you know. We have way bigger battles in Planetside, so I think if they're gonna market Planetside Arena, they should do it big, bigger, biggest. Like really,
of course.
go for the big scale we have.
Biggest with client side. GG.
Biggest with client side, yeah.
It's just gonna be like anyone that's gonna go for Modern Warfare, right? Mostly all the people know about Call of Duty, right? Especially people like myself who've plunged way too many hours into Modern Warfare. It's just sure you're gonna have those people go over there. There's certainly gonna be a few Planetside players, but Planetside and Planetside Arena are so unique in them in like their own state. If what I've read a couple of months ago and like the stuff that was added to Planetside Arena, like tanks and ESM, there shouldn't be too much in terms of competition, I would say. Because if with this little information that they gave about the huge mode in Modern Warfare, it doesn't really incorporate vehicles, right? They are, I believe, winning streak. Yeah, it's just from my point of view, I don't think it's that comparable. I can certainly see a lot of people being drawn over there, but then also remember it's Call of Duty and just keep in mind how fast people might rage quit from it because
that's just Call of Duty.
That's Call of Duty.
Yeah. I don't see it as such a big problem. I can certainly see the Apex effect happening again, both if PSA gets released before and after Call of Duty. But it's not like they have much of a choice now, do they?
There will always be a game releasing next. If they don't release it after, before Call of Duty, it will be Cyberpunk, or it will be Borderlands 3, or it will be... There are so many games.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
They're gonna have to throw it out as... And the problem that I see the most, and that I fear the most, because it's Planetside, and we just have a track record of it, is they're going to release it in a state where it's just like... That's the thing I fear the most, and I hope it won't. I have faith in Cardo.
I have faith in Cardo.
Same. I have faith in Cardo as well.
We have faith. I like that you guys are still pretty positive. I see also people saying, well, Battle Royales in 2019, that they shouldn't do that anymore. And they shouldn't focus on that, but they should definitely, I think, have a mode for that as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a missed opportunity for money. New games, right? BR. It's just the only game mode that keeps bringing new content and new, like, I don't know how to say it. It keeps changing. But it's never the same.
But it's only going to be very much impactful if it adds something new to the genre. And does it have what it takes in that regard? I mean, Apex was such a hit because it revolutionized a lot of the aspects with the pinging system, which will now become a norm in multiplayer games that are somewhat competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like that will be a norm, and it's perfect. Like it's absolutely amazing. But Planetside Arena?
Just too late. Too late for everything.
Not too late. It's just what does it have in store that might set itself apart aside from the numbers? I feel like the numbers, especially in a battle royale, do not matter whatsoever.
They do have jetpacks. That's unique. Personal vehicle isn't unique, but still special. There are a few things that are unique in Planetside.
Max unit, SoonTm.
Magazine. No. Fortnite has already maxes or max suits in the game, so that's
we were
already not
first.
that's done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Game is done. Game is dead. Fortnite been there. Fortnite done it. We're gonna finish off, guys, with the few last questions. The first one is from the Rogue Wolf. We already have a big problem with people piling on one faction with the biggest advantage during alerts. How will mandates mitigate that? And I think the context of it is that because mandates will they'll be faction-wide. So, for example, it might be that you are competing with your faction against other factions in completing a certain mandate as the first faction. So that might mean that a certain player is going to join a certain faction that's going to win. And the question is, how are they going to mitigate that?
I don't think they will, honestly, because for that, people, right? This is the point where faction balance is sort of on the table is before people actually even log in, right? So unless you talk about players like Faber who play NS, it doesn't do anything. I do not believe that they can implement something that says, "Oh, switch to the opposite faction." So I don't think it will have any sort of impact. Maybe in terms of double teaming, that could be like, "Oh, hey, this faction has more territory," or there are not enough fights, even though I believe that's difficult to implement. That might be something that you can do, but in terms of faction pop balance, I don't think that's doable.
That is interesting, though, yeah. Like you mentioned.
I mean, it would be difficult reading numbers because at the end of the day, that's all they have, right? They have numbers. You don't know, well, probably they have more, but just looking as a programmer from the outside, you should know how many people are in a hex. There could be dead pop like on Emerald 69AR who were just driving around the map. That could negatively impact that. So I'm not sure if they want to do that, but that would be a way like, oh, hey, there's only fights between your faction and this other faction, and the other faction does not have any fights with you. So maybe you get a specific point for engaging them and killing X amount of VS soldiers, for example. Would be cool. Is it doable? I don't know.
Yeah, judging like the way you say it, it would make sense to do it like that. But right now, if you look at the instant action stuff, like there's 7% enemies on a 96 fight. And if I'm right and you have the information of the numbers on the hex, like why are you sending people there? I don't know, dude. I just hope they code it well and do it right. And make it not hard coded, but actually depend of certain variables and stuff like that. Which they should be doing already, but yeah.
Interesting.
I could throw out a few like personal thoughts as to why we still get thrown into, I don't know, a 96 plus versus 1 to 12, which is like the tick rate, for example. It only updates, I don't know, every 5 seconds, not to overload you. But yeah, it's certainly still an issue and one of the most annoying ones that I've encountered. But there's so many potential ways they can do this. The mandate system, if it is implemented the way that I at least read it, because everyone understands things a little bit different. On paper, perfect. It opens the gates to so many new possibilities. But the problem is, how is it actually implemented, and what data can they pull? But yeah, like Rogue Wolf said, it's actually pretty neat because I didn't think about the faction pop balance because that has to be done before you even log in. But you can actually somewhat counteract up to some extent.
Yeah, interesting. We'll see. They will probably start to implement the mandate system in the fall. So soon, TM. We'll see. We've got one final question again from Christopher. Will they bring in new maps? And we talked about that. New cars and planes. I know the idea of the end and automatic turrets is pretty neat. And I wonder if they could add those turrets on big dome bases for like automatic air and ground defense, but make them weaker just to make the game more epic. There's, I think, 2 questions. So the first is like, will there be new cars, new planes? NS vehicles are announced.
Yep.
They should be coming. More NS vehicles. Also for the NSO to have something new to play. The second question is interesting though. It's you're proposing basically air-to-ground defense, so automatic biodome turrets against air, more like a PvE element.
Yeah, I mean, you have construction in that regard. In terms of vehicles, the only thing that I can think back to would be the Bastion carrier. Now, from the little information we had about Osher, it won't be flyable by players, but it had all the anti-vehicle, anti-infantry, and anti-air turrets on the side. If that sort of fits your description. This will not happen on all the continents, and I believe the way they said it months back was only on Osher. But to answer your question directly, I do not believe that that's going to happen. And the only faction that will get new vehicles, we don't even know which ones, will be NS.
Oh, I do like this comment from Caliburnus. Make the NSOs into Transformers. I would love it to press like B and then change into like a Flash bike or a Tempest. Oh,
Well, it's going to be
cool.
interesting to see what the NSO vehicles are, or the Max, for example. If they're going to
NSO
implement
Max. Ooh, Gorgons 24/7.
But
Bursters.
But my question is also then, will the NSO Max be available to every faction, so you can also choose for NS Max, or will it be an exclusive
Don't think
thing?
so.
No?
Don't think so. Because it would technically, well, NSO has, or sorry, NS weapons are anti-air and the Gorgons for anti-infantry, but the one thing that's missing are anti-vehicle max weapons, which I believe they've teased once, which are supposed to be like a rocket launcher, unless I'm making this up. I'm not entirely sure.
No,
So
sure.
I feel like the NSO max would just be a cosmetic, right? They would just port over the normal max from the other factions and then give it the restriction, just like NSO works in general. The one thing that's actually interesting, though, is the main battle tank if they ever implement it for NSO, because that would be unique and that would be a good indication for people to buy membership. Same thing with the
That's
ESF.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. I haven't thought about that myself. But I think those are the questions.
I saw one.
You saw one, tell me.
Why is my avatar so adorable? Someone asked that a couple of minutes ago.
Tell them.
I don't know, I like pandas, that's why. It's adorable and it pats its fat belly. And it rolls around.
Oh, it's patting its fat belly. Now I get it. I thought he was like doing the wave.
Look at the tiny little stubs it has as
Yeah,
its
but I
feet.
was
It
like,
can't even
let's
walk.
go, team, let's go. I thought that was the thing. But okay. Do you have any final thoughts, ENZAK or Alpha? Any things you want to share?
ENZAK?
Final thoughts about what? About the topics we
Anything.
just discussed, or I don't know. I'm hyped for what's coming, and I hope they, like, instead of doing their own thing, they actually communicate and give more information about what they're doing. That's what I hope.
Yeah,
More
it's
communication.
Yeah.
the one thing I know that ENZAK made the comment Planetside 2 on paper is neat, but on paper a lot of the stuff that they say is amazing. I remain a little bit skeptical simply because of track records like Hasen, where we still to this day do not have construction sites updated, sadly. I hope it works out. It certainly, to an outsider, it looks like a gate with so much potential and possibility. But we'll have to wait and see. And also, you know, it's just I would like to see more for the new player experience to happen. Like that was such a huge point. I would like to see more there because then the numbers will start going up, I believe, since fewer people will leave continuously.
We got one final question. This is my last question. I've said this in chat, but will they add more effects and visual to the game, like rain effects, snow, sandstorm, fit the theme of the maps and make it more like anything, some sort?
Those are good ideas.
But also CPU draining, I would guess.
There was I believe Higby once posted one back in 2013 about rain on Amerish and snowstorms on Esamir. I don't think that would be on their radar as of right now. The only way to do that would be in a video for someone to go through the effort and add it all in. But in the game, don't think so. And think
Okay.
about the downside to it. It would mess with your FPS a lot. And this doesn't even include visibility and all the other side effects of weather changes. It would be absolutely neat and amazing, but it would get annoying really quickly, I believe.
And probably people will find ways to disable it in the INI files or something like that.
Yeah, look at smoke. It's yeah.
Can you actually still disable smoke? Yeah,
just walk
I'm
away
guessing
5 meters.
So. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, otherwise I'm gonna start ranting about that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about smoke
still possible.
Next time. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you again, Alpha and ENZAK, and every viewer today, all the questions. Thank you so much. We will be back in 2 weeks with a Dropodcast. So you can always submit your questions in our Discord. Feel free to join over there as well. Or what you can do if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching right now and later on see the video on YouTube, you can also leave a comment over there. So guys, thank you so much again, and until the next time.